it's Feria Lamisha with some very special guests, Sarah Pearson Collins and Keziah Pearson, here to talk to us today about their card game, Pull the Race Card, right?
Yes.
Can you explain a little bit about what this card game is?
Well, basically, it's not necessarily a game, but it's a deck of cards used to facilitate difficult conversations about race.
So what started, the creation of this card game? I know you two are sisters. Did you come up with it together? Did somebody think of it first?
Well, we actually came up with it together. We were all sitting in front of the television and watching the murder of George Floyd, and just thinking that we needed to do something. You know, my background is in content development. Keziah's background is in education. And so we started kind of throwing ideas against the wall, and it ended up coming up that we developed this deck of cards. And so, and then the name just kind of happened as well. So, you know, I woke up the next morning, I was like, hey, I got the perfect name. You know, I said, you know how everybody talks about, you know, you pull in the race card? Well, let's name it that. So it just things just kind of started snowballing, and here we are today.
How did you get started with getting the publicity out for the race card game? Did you think it'd come as far as it has?
So that kind of happened pretty quickly, actually. We posted to let people know, hey, we have this game, and Channel 7 saw, someone from Channel 7 saw what we were doing, and they picked it up and said, hey, we want to run a story on this. And so I want to say that later that week we did an interview, and the reel aired, and then their sister channels picked it up.
Yeah. So I think what was going on is there was, what had just happened was the Asian hate, the issue down in Atlanta. So it just kind of, this coming out was like, I'm not going to say it was perfect timing. It just happened to fall when all this stuff was happening. And so news stations picked it up, and they ran with it. And so we started off just local, and next thing you know, we were, national.
What would you say to people who think this isn't a good thing to have, who think it's not really a good idea?
Well, we have encountered people like that. And so those people, everybody has an opinion. There are people who are ready to change. They're ready to move the needle. They're ready to have these conversations. And there's people that are not. So I'm not going to force anybody who's not ready, But in order for us to all coexist, I think it's something that needs to happen. If you think about a relationship between a couple, if I don't know that you don't like something, then I'm going to continue doing it. We're all in a relationship. We are going to all live on this earth together. I need to be able to tell you that, there's some things I don't like. I don't like it when you say such and such, and it should be okay that we can have that dialogue. And once I know that you don't like it, then either I'm not going to do it anymore, or if I continue to do it, then then I know that I don't care. But I think it's necessary. What do you think?
You stole everything I was going to say.
I stole it.
Yeah, basically we're in a relationship whether we want to be or not. So we need to definitely have these conversations. It's just that simple. As she said before, that we've gotten people who don't care for what we're doing. And so we've gotten comments and things like that. And it can get scary. But at the same time, something is driving me to do this. And it was never about making money off of it. It was the simple fact that I want better for my nephews. I want better for my niece. I want better for the children that I teach. Through everyday life, you see a lot of nonsense going on that's just not right. And so I think it's time for people to stand up and make a change. And this is my piece of the puzzle, or our piece of the puzzle.
Contribution here. Well, one of the things that we do when we actually are having events and we, pull the race card, we give 5 simple rules. One of them, which being is no walking on eggshells. So, and that just simply means that, okay, we're not going to focus on, is this politically correct? But you want to be able to have an honest dialogue. You want to feel comfortable.
I saw on the interview you showed that your cards come with the QR code for more information. I think that's just you didn't only start the conversation, but you also made sure that you can end the conversation. You could step away from the conversation, do your own research,
Right.
make sure you actually, So, yeah, this is a really interesting deck of cards. I was wondering if we could play a little bit.
Sure, definitely.
Absolutely.
All right, so
Are you ready? Are you ready for this conversation?
we'll be right back after this short break. And we're back here with Sarah Pearson Collins, Keziah Pearson, and special guest Fatima Tabassum, so that we can learn how to play the race card game. If you would like to explain the instructions.
So each participant gets a fact and a fiction card, and then a card is drawn from the deck. A statement is read. You decide whether you think it's fact or whether you think it's fiction. And then we have a discussion. And there's also, as mentioned before, there's a QR code on the back of the card that gives us more information on the topic.
So before we begin the discussion, we like to set ground rules. So when we're having events, we will set the ground rules. So it's no overlapping of talking. So wait for someone to complete their conversation or their thought before you interject. No walking on eggshells. So we want you to be as comfortable, as honest, as candid as you need to be in this forum, because it's a safe environment. We try to promote a safe environment. We want to be able to listen more than we're talking, not just listening to respond, but listening to really understand what the person is trying to say. So those are some of our ground rules. And you've already pulled the card.
So I pulled the card. I'm going to read it. All citizens should be required to stand for the national anthem.
Now, so a statement is read, and so then you determine whether or not it's fact or fiction. Do you feel like it's fact?
I'm going to put down fiction.
I'm going to put down fiction. Jeez, everybody put down fiction.
We all agree.
Okay, so why? What is your thoughts?
Okay, well, in a perfect world, there would be a country where everybody agrees, everybody's equal, and I guess that would be a country where it'd make more sense, where everybody would feel comfortable celebrating the country by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. But people experience different things, and people have harder times, and some people feel like their country doesn't work with them. So why should we force them, especially when some people don't understand them, why should we force them to say the Pledge of Allegiance? It doesn't make sense.
You want to go one more time?
Last one, yeah.
Sure. Okay. I don't know what this one is going to be.
I don't either.
Okay, so this one says, white teachers are less effective in educating black students.
Or students of color.
Yeah.
I'm adding
Students
that
of
on
color.
there.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I'm just gonna play devil's advocate since I see what you got there. Go ahead.
Should we start explaining?
No, I'm waiting for
Oh.
I'm waiting for Keziah.
So I really want to put out both cards, and I know that's not what we can do here. Which side am I more on?
I'm more. Go ahead.
I'm leaning more to the fact side, I think.
I grew up in New York City, and like my teachers, they never really fully like went in depth of why slavery was so like dehumanizing and like very like they just said, oh, it was there, it was this, and they whitewashed it so much. And I didn't like I grew up like not thinking the importance or anything, but in 8th grade I had a good teacher, and she was white, and she told us that like about like the important like stuff like black people went through, and like how like when we were building the American railroads, there was like Chinese workers that like had to like be sacrificed, like they had to like bomb themselves inside the mines, and like how white people took the credit for it, and she explained everything. She was a good teacher. But like last year I had a teacher that like she did not explain anything, and she was an AP US history teacher. She dumbed down everything, and she even like empathized with the white people, like like he monopolized this and that, or, like but like he had like loss and this and that, but like that wasn't like
Wow.
She didn't go in depth through the struggles that like people of color had to go through in America, and she mainly focused on like economy and stuff, and it was like we understand it's U.S. history, but like she didn't like explain thoroughly the importance of every single thing.
I think this was a really good, productive session of this game. thank you so much for being here, being able to,
having us.
you know, answer my questions and
Yes.
right.
Yes.
So make sure to check it out and thank you
you.
for being here.
Thank you.